Yes.
There it is.
That's the one we did. So yeah, this one that is fancy.
Ooh. You edit it, and then you click path, and then you play. Start. That's what I did. This is what, yeah. Yeah. I think it was close calls. Yeah.
A little off on this screen, but so for this class, I wasn't, because my main focus is, of course, information science. When I signed up for this class, this was my question. What do information science and geotourism have in common? How can I connect what I've been learning to this course and go forward in my education with this, kind of like what Sarah just was presenting? What can I take out of this and apply to what I'm doing? And before I even came on this trip, I started doing some research, and this was something that I found through the help of the director of the Traverse Area District Library. And this is the first connection I had between these two things. So basically, the Traverse Area District Library is the second library in the country to do this. And what they've done, you may have heard me talk about this on the trip actually, what they've done is they've used these QR codes here, and they've put these in the airport and in the Bay Area Transportation Authority bus stations. And what happens is when you scan that QR code, it takes you to the Traverse Area District Library website to the ebooks section. So you can then download an ebook. If you are a TADL, if you have a card with them, then you have access to any of their ebooks.
No way.
If you aren't, if you're a tourist here and you just want a book, it'll take you to public domain books. So anything that's, not under a copyright. That would be something like, say, Pride and Prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my first connection between geotourism and information science, because this is, connecting tourists with something, with the library here, and, it makes them feel welcome, and it doesn't disrupt the community in any way, because they're not checking out books from the library. They're not taking away things that residents would have access to, since it's ebooks. And they're actually expanding this to the beaches. They're going to have these on the beaches in some places, and I forget where else, but they're going to be expanding this program.
Wow.
They also do this in Orlando. That was the first library to adopt this. And so this was before the trip, and then you all recognize this.
Mm-hmm.
So also before the trip, when we had to evaluate this awful site, this is something that I have done for a class, and I think this is this is probably the biggest intersection of information studies and geotourism studies, because this is the first phase of a region that a lot of people would see, especially people from out of state, out of the country. This is their impression of Michigan, and it's a terrible site. And so this is where information professionals can work with people in the tourism industry to help improve this for users and for people who are going to be coming into the region or want to. And so then on the trip, I don't know if you guys remember Tree talking about the Grand Vision Plan.
Mm-hmm.
And they used crowdsourcing to, decide what do people in this region want? What do they see as the vision for this region? And through that, they have created this app, or they're working on this app that will help, that you can put in like what you want to do, your mobility, if you have mobility limitations, and how much time you have. And again, that is definitely a huge intersection of information, science, working with tourism. And this is actually just a screenshot of the Grand Vision website. And also with crowdsourcing, they have this iReporter thing where you can take, people in the region can take pictures or videos of things going on in the region, and then they share them on Flickr and YouTube. So, one of the areas of study at the School of Information is archives and records management. And with the lighthouses and the Doherty House, it's kind of about preserving heritage, which I guarantee you that a lot of the things they learned, some of the things you see up on the walls, and for instance, the lighthouses, that information, I'm willing to bet that a lot of that came probably from some sort of collection somewhere. Also with the, I didn't put it into this presentation, but the Hemingway tour, a lot of that in his book, a lot of that stuff came from archives. So again, they're using information to enhance this tourist experience. And so then also with the CVB, the Harris City CVB, Brad was kind of speaking my language a little bit because he talked about that they used analytics. They heavily use analytics from their website. And if you're not familiar with web analytics, it's kind of like a measuring, I don't know really how to explain it, but it measures who comes to this site, they might not know exactly who you are, but, they know that the IP addresses, so they know if people are visiting the site from out of state, out of the country, and they know what areas of the site people are visiting, so they'll know, which areas get the heaviest traffic, what are people looking at, what do people want to do. And so they're taking those analytics, and they can use that to maybe highlight certain things on the site, or, they can cater to certain users or tourist types, basically. And so I was really happy to hear that they're really using their analytics. I think that's great. And he said that that's like half of the puzzle with the site, and I think that's great. And so what does this all mean for me and for anybody that's sort of interested in both of these things? And I think ultimately the thing that I've really learned is that information professionals, they're very interested in connecting users and information, and I don't think that's that different from people in geotourism and travel and tourism industries. They're looking to give people, they want people to have an authentic experience, and I think that starts with websites and knowing your users, knowing who's coming into the region. And so I think there's a big intersection there, much bigger than what I thought before I took this class. So that's my presentation. If you have any questions, So are there any questions?
Were you excited when you heard about the app that